What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another weather forecast here by Agent's Weather Forecast. And in this video, we'll be focusing here on the tropical Atlantic here as the tropics are really blowing up. We actually have another disturbance off the coast of Africa. But in this video, we're mainly talking about Invest 97 and Invest 98L actually. Soon to possibly Laura. 98L could very close to being tropics from Laura, maybe by the end of tonight, maybe early tomorrow morning. Really watching that as well, and also watching 97 now could possibly be named in the next coming days, and also watching all that disturbance. But really watching Florida, really watching Florida for 98L. Models have been consistent on showing a big hurricane landfall for Florida, so really gotta watch that for Florida. When 97L, the whole Gulf Coast is really at play. So 97L is really unpredictable, but we're really going to be talking about both storms, the cone, timing, where they can possibly affect, strength, and all the conditions, every single thing on these systems, including whether they can affect the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, and all those other countries there in the Caribbean. But without further ado, let's get into this video. So here's looking at the National Hurricane Center, and as you see now, we have 3 disturbances here in the Atlantic here. So really watching this out very closely. Honestly, this is a very this isn't an ordinary thing you see in late August. We have 3 whole disturbances right after each other here. Obviously, the most likely one being named soon will be Invest 98L, as it now has a 90% chance for development within the next 48 hours here. So it has a 90% chance for the next 5 days, including the next 48 hours. So very high risk for having formation within the next 48 hours, if not even 24 hours. As we now check out disturbance now here, Invest 97L has an 80% chance for development within the next 5 days. Has increased, but only a 40% chance here. Medium risk or chance for development within the next 48 hours. I think this could very well increase to a 50% chance for the next 48 hours if it continues to organize and blow up in convection like it's doing currently right now, and also expect it to slow down. So if it strengthens, the more it strengthens, the more likely for Florida. The less it strengthens, the more likely for just the Mexico landfall, no U.S. So that's also we're watching out as well for the Yucatan Peninsula, even Cuba. And then obviously really watching the more 98L strengthens, the more likely for a Florida landfall. The less it strengthens could be more kind of a maybe like a Irma track, but actually ending up missing Florida. So there's a lot of things in play, but 98L definitely has a good threat for Florida. And then we have a 20% chance here for that third invest here that just almost about to come off the coast of Africa. Has a good amount of convection. So really watching that very closely. Obviously not saying it's going to be named or anything, but it definitely does have some favorable conditions in the NDR. 98L is going to be thriving because of those conditions, and so could this new disturbance. So here's looking now at the RI brightness here on 98L, and as you see here, definitely trying to get its act together. It was like kind of 3 big areas of convection, and now it's kind of gone into one area. Could be the new center here. That's exactly what we're watching for here on 98L. It's definitely trying to get its act together, though. So I think it would have definitely have been a tropical depression at this moment if it hasn't split up like it did. But really watching this very closely, could very well start to create some circular-like formation to really close up an LLC. So that's exactly what we're kind of expecting to maybe have some banding. That's kind of what we're looking for on this invest here to actually make it Laura here. Let's check out the true color here as well, see exactly how good it's actually looking on satellite imagery here, visible satellite imagery. As you see, this does look decent. It looks a lot better on satellite imagery with the cloud cover. See, it's right here, looking a lot better than if you look at RI brightness, but definitely low pressure there. Some big, somewhat nice banding there. So this is actually a pretty decent looking investor. Remember, this is just an invest, so don't expect really much of it. And now you see kind of really trying to get its act together. Actually, it's trying to get some banding. It really is trying to get some banding, and it's actually exactly why it could be named as early as today, whether it's 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock, or 11 o'clock there. But look at this banding. This is actually some impressive banding here. Pretty impressive here. Low pressure right there. You can very well see this low pressure. Looking a lot better than it looked a couple hours ago. Look at a couple hours ago. Really kind of, you just saw those 3 split areas, number 1, 2, and 3 of convection, and now it's kind of trying to become all one here. As you can really tell, it's trying to get all one. This block convection can connect there, and that'll make one big LLC there, possibly getting to the point where it could be named. Now here's look now at Invest 97. Now as you see, like I said earlier in the introduction, that this is actually blowing up. And look at this, really trying to find a new center here. And it looks like it's just doing that. Really, it actually has moved a bit more to the north here because it's trying to organize. Yesterday, this thing was like right here, and now it's all the way up here. So it's kind of really trying to get to the point where it's organizing, and that really obviously needs to just organize first before it strengthens. If you have it strengthening before organizing, it's gonna fall apart here. But definitely trying to really a huge blow up of convection there, and now that could be very well the new center. And this is actually looking a lot better here. Could very well see this banding starting to develop. That's exactly what we're looking here for. Maybe this could very well be maybe Marco. You know, this definitely has a good chance to be named here, but obviously I think 98L definitely has a way better chance to actually say it will be named here. Let's check out now these satellite imagery here. As you see, look at that big blow up of convection. This system's all the way up here, actually. Like, it's not too far south from Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Colombia. It's right in those areas there, so it's kind of in between those a lot of land. So it's kind of avoiding a lot of land there, and definitely trying to get its act together. It's definitely trying to get there. So both Disturbances and both Invest are really trying to get their acts together. So maybe we can have two named storms pretty soon. So here's look now at Invest 98L model track guidance, and as you see here, they have definitely shifted, now possibly leading toward a Puerto Rico landfall here. This is for Invest 98L, and as you see, kind of leading towards an Irma track. Actually, the CEM2 is kind of showing just that, possibly making landfall like in the Everglades and Naples, but obviously not going to go up the crest of Florida. I think this is definitely, these are going to start moving more northward towards Miami, the big island of the Bahamas. I think Cuba, Puerto Rico, I already said Cuba, the northern Leeward Islands there, portions of Puerto Rico, I already said that, Dominican Republic and Haiti. You guys are all definitely going to be seeing some big impacts, whether it's a direct landfall or just big effects. If this avoids Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, it's going to really bring in a lot of effects though, actually, but looking like an Irma-like track where it kind of makes landfall on all these islands, and then maybe could very well strengthen to the point where it maybe goes up like that. Obviously, Irma went like this, but it can be like an exact opposite here. And that's actually going to leave me right in the open right there. I'm actually right there in northern Georgia. But really, this is kind of the cone here. I would say this is probably the cone for this system here. Let me actually do it like this. I'm pretty sure this is a good cone in my opinion here. Definitely looking like it's going to turn north. The more this strengthens, the more north it could turn. So if this ain't just, it gets closed or becomes named earlier than models show, we can definitely see a northern trend here where they kind of go towards more of the Bahamas. That can be more effects, whether Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3 force winds here. But really, if you're in Cuba, if you're in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Northern Leeward Islands, Hispaniola, I think you guys definitely want to keep this in mind, especially if you are mainly in Florida, because that's where the system can possibly be the strongest here. And obviously, we have higher population. But really, either way, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, Northern Leeward Islands, you guys definitely need to keep this in mind. And maybe, who knows, maybe it does strengthen and it gets organized sooner than expected. That can mean maybe not a direct landfall, but maybe more impacts no matter what, because it could be a lot stronger here. So definitely keep in mind, if you're basically from here to possibly even here, we gotta definitely watch out for a lot of landfalls here. So keep that in mind. Let's check out now the GFS tracks and minimal center pressure. Let's refresh. As you see here, showing that it possibly be 1,005 millibars in the next 48 hours, which means it could possibly be tropical storm. And this black line is the averaging out of where this system can go. When it means system, it means a low pressure. As he expects this to go just north of Puerto Rico, and that's going to be some more impacts for Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas. Obviously, the Carolinas and Georgia won't be seeing the direct landfall, but Florida, if it's a big storm, Cat 2, this could very well bring some big impacts here for Georgia, the Carolinas here, if it does that northeastern trend, which is what models expect. But you see a lot of tracks over Dominican Republic, even ending up in the Eastern Gulf. So even if you're in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Hattiesburg, Mobile, Pensacola, you guys still have to keep this in mind. I recommend watching the news, recommend even maybe watch my videos every day so you guys can get the latest information here. So do not rule this out 100%, even if you're as far as New Orleans. But I think if you're in Miami, I think if you're in Cuba, if you're in the Bahamas, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Northern Leeward Islands, I think you guys definitely need to watch out if you're in this circle. If you're in this circle, you definitely need to keep a close eye on this because it's a very good chance this may just miss you or make a direct landfall. So we can be seeing multiple direct landfalls here. So we're gonna monitor whether this black line or these tracks start to get more to the north. But as you see, we kind of have a couple models showing this being like a sub 980 millibar system, making landfall right over Miami, Hollywood, which means could be a category 2 here. So really watching very closely here. Check out the intensity guidance here. What do models expect? As you see, they do expect this to be a tropical storm well before the next 24 hours, so could be named definitely by for sure tomorrow morning. But look at this, some getting towards there in the next 18 hours, so this could be named as early as maybe 11 p.m. tonight, maybe 2 a.m. tomorrow, could be named Laura extremely soon. And then a lot of models are anticipating this to stay as a tropical storm. I definitely don't see this. The reason why all those tracks and all those models have moved to the south is because they expect this to be a bit weaker. Not even, only a couple show getting to hurricane force winds. I think this could definitely be a category 1, at least a category 1. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 models getting this to Cat 1, and then 1 getting this to Cat 2, trying to get to Cat 3. So, I mean, the HMNI, I'm not going to rule this out. I think it could definitely get to Cat 2, maybe Cat 3. You know, this could definitely be our biggest storm so far this year in the Atlantic. Hannah was the strongest storm so far, and it was 90 miles an hour. We can definitely beat that. But as you see, a lot are leaning towards only a tropical storm, whether it's a moderate, weak, but that's good because that means we are definitely going to possibly see Laura here. It's just, I think these are definitely underestimating this storm here. Check out now the Invest 97L tracks. There are actually some good but bad news. Good news is because I did expect this to go in a panhandle, and it seems like models are trying to get there. Bad news is that means another U.S. landfall, and it will be even worse if 97L hits Florida. That means we'll have 2 possibly named storms to hit Florida within days. I mean, that can be 1 strike for northern Florida and 1 strike for the rest of Florida, which means Florida gets affected all around here. Because obviously we had like Irma or something like that. The really panhandle didn't get affected much here. Or it did, but not a lot. But as you see, a lot of the models were guiding towards Central America yesterday, getting towards the Bay of Campeche. No, I really didn't think that was going to happen 100%. I really was kind of leaning towards a Eastern Gulf storm here, whether it's Mobile, even as far west as even the far parishes of Louisiana coast there. The reason why, because they do expect this to possibly strengthen a lot right here. And also the reason why it's going to be strengthening a lot is because it's going to be slowing down. The only reason why this is not a very organized tropical storm at the moment is because it's been moving extremely fast. So it kind of left convection behind it. But it's just recently blowing up here. It's actually a lot more to the north than models expected it today. So I think there's definitely a big chance this could possibly affect the panhandle. I think chances for a U.S. landfall in general have increased. It actually skyrocketed because we all saw yesterday. They were all showing Central America, all showing Bay of Campeche, no U.S. landfall. And I remember saying, obviously this can change a lot, but we kind of winded down the model tracks from Texas to Florida, which is still a very big track. Still has a lot of areas like New Orleans, Hattiesburg, Mobile, Pensacola, Apalachicola, Houston. But definitely going to really keep in mind many possibilities. But definitely, I think chances for U.S. landfall have definitely skyrocketed compared to yesterday. The GEPS tracks here now expect this to possibly make landfall right on the Florida and Alabama border. This is actually, the black line means the general averaging out of all the tracks. And I see that black line shows it's possibly strengthening a good bit here. That's exactly why it's going straight to the north. And this is going to make landfall right possibly near Pensacola, like right on Pensacola, right on the Alabama-Florida border, which is actually what I expected a week and a half out. I said a week and a half out this could possibly hit the Florida and Alabama border. And what do you know? We're a couple days from this landfall, and here we go. But as you see here, we have tracked all the way from Corpus Christi to Tallahassee. I mean, that's almost the whole Gulf Coast. I mean, yesterday they were showing Mexico and all that, and even Florida. So we have made improvement. We kind of have closed off Mexico at this point, or at least at least west, or at least the Bay of Campeche, Mexico, not like Yucatan Peninsula near Cancun. But as you see, kind of we're having a lot more models now. We have a lot more models leading towards a decent storm, actually maybe even Cat 1 and Cat 2 for the Florida Panhandle. I think if it does what this black line shows, I think it could possibly maybe be a Cat 1. But if it weakens and it doesn't actually strengthen and it actually ends up hitting Central America, possibly tropical storm at most. But the thing is, this track relies on the strength, and this strength relies on the track. So it's kind of hard to say exactly what the best outcome is. But I think this could very well pop. I think people are definitely underestimating this not being a hurricane or even a strong tropical storm. People still think this can only be a tropical depression or a small tropical storm. I think that people have to tend to look at only one or two models, but if you look at the atmospheric conditions and all that, it does, and mathematically, it seems to be slowing down, so we'll have a better chance to actually make landfall for the U.S. The stronger this gets, the more organized it gets, the better the chance for an eastern coast landfall, and I think that's definitely increasing a good bit. So check out now the model intensity guidance here for Invest 97L. We all saw how yesterday they showed earliest tropical storm was 36 hours. Now the earliest is 24 hours here, so definitely trying to get a lot sooner here. And then latest is 60 hours, so kind of winding down a good time. We kind of closed off a good amount of time, and a good bit of models get this to possibly be a moderate to strong tropical storm. We have two models, getting this to a hurricane past 75 miles an hour. I think as this maybe gets named a lot sooner than the models expect, even some models don't even show this being a tropical storm or anything. I think when this does possibly become organized a lot sooner, closes off, gets named, I think models will start to rise. Not Cat 3, maybe not even Cat 2, but at least some getting either to high-end tropical storm or low-end Category 1. So that's exactly why we need to keep a close eye on these models here. So here looking at CMC, my personal favorite model this year, actually, overall this season, the CMC has been the most accurate with the icon. As you see, there's CMC showing Invest 97L. They're at 1,007 millibars. We're going to be expecting 98L very soon. And there's 98L right there. So CMC does show this to be 1,004 millibars. And I'm not going to lie, I think CMC is definitely on something for 97 and 98L. Or at least 97L here. It shows 1,004 millibars. So it could be tropical storm. And this is making landfall way south of Cancun at 1,000 millibars. I think that definitely possibly won't happen in my opinion. And then look what CMC shows is possibly only being 1,005 millibars when it gets to Cuba. Only 1,005 millibars for 98L at Cuba. That it will definitely be stronger than that. So I think CMC overall this year has been good, but they are actually doing pretty good the first days of Invest 98L, 97L. But now they're kind of just all over the place at this point. I mean, look what they show for 97L being possibly a hurricane heading towards Texas. I'm not sure about that. And only 1,002 millibars for getting between Florida. I mean, I don't understand about that. Look at 986 millibar storm hitting where Hannah did. I don't see that happening, in my opinion. And then 98L is expected, based on the CMC, to make kind of stall a little bit and blow up, and then make landfall at New Orleans at 978 millibars. I'm sorry. I really do not see that happening. I know I just said CMC is the most reliable overall this season, but I do not see that. I really do not. Let's check out the icon here. Icon has also been pretty reasonable this year compared to GFS and Euro. I mean, GFS and Euro have been really lacking this year, but obviously models can change mid-season. Alright, icon, as you see, there's 97L and there's 98L. Both beautiful storms in the next 40 hours there. As you see, Icon gets this to 1,009 millibars by August 21st. I'm sorry, this, first of all, in 60 hours, this will be named, and way lower than that. And this will also be lower than that. Maybe named. We'll see. And then the Icon shows these storms starting to really blow up after that. 1,001 millibars, 999, 1,005. And look what the icon shows. Actually, what icon shows is actually more reasonable. I think icon, I won't finish it, but I think based on the last gist, it seems like icon's kind of maybe heading towards a Louisiana, Mississippi storm. That's a lot more reasonable than southern Texas, in my opinion. And then icon kind of showing maybe a potential maybe hurricane for the Keys, possibly like a Katrina situation here. Maybe affecting Homestead, Miami still, but look at that 990 millibars. If it was blowing up like that, it has plenty of time to actually blow up, which means more north, which means Miami, I guess you could say that for sure. Check the H-Wharf. H-Wharf is actually a hurricane model specifically for tropical systems. H-Wharf has been they actually did pretty good with these IEs. Let's just say that. They were pretty good. They're very accurate for specifically tropical systems. Let's check out what they say. They say in the next 40 hours, this would be 1,002 millibars. That seems a lot more reasonable than 1,009. But then it starts blowing up. Alright, H-Wharf, I'm not saying it's the most accurate, but sometimes they can overreact storms, but sometimes they're spot on. 989 millibars before the Lesser Antilles and Windward Islands going north, and then possibly arriving towards Puerto Rico at a 961 millibar storm, which means a major hurricane. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen. I really do not think that's going to happen whatsoever. I think this could be a hurricane. Maybe Cat 1 when it goes around Puerto Rico. And then it's just kind of going through Dominican Republic, kind of weakening a good bit, 986, and then going through Cuba, south of Cuba. I think H-Wharf is showing it's going way too south at this point. Check out now something I really like to look at, simulated RI4 brightness temperature here. As you see, kind of showing really blowing up a convection very soon here, getting very organized. Possibly, based on this, it shows that soon to be lower can develop in the next 78 hours. I don't think that's going to happen personally. I think it might be later. But look at that, showing possibly going straight across Puerto Rico, going into Dominican Republic. This is actually, if this H-Wharf happens, this will be a mental storm. But I think this will definitely be a hurricane, but I just don't think it's going to be that strong or be a hurricane that fast. And then still trying to survive over Cuba there. Let's check out the conditions here. So a lot of moisture here. As my webcam get out the way. There we go, perfect. As you see, there's 98L following a lot of moisture. We have 97L following all this moisture here in the Western Caribbean. So definitely good condition for both these systems. And now you see GFS showing 98L going kind of like this and then going towards the Panhandle there with a lot of moisture. As you see, that's exactly what the GFS is showing that storm doing. So they actually show it possibly forming. That actually is a lot better than they were showing earlier the past days. And let's check out, last but not least, the wind shear. So wind shear is obviously a concern. We've had concerns a lot with wind shear this year, but this may be in the clear. Really, shear has cleared out a lot for 97L, and I mean a lot. This shear has really actually died down a lot for 97L, and that's exactly what. Look, 0 knots for some areas, so that's exactly why this storm can possibly blow up, which means Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, not Texas, and not Mexico, maybe not even Louisiana. So definitely really watching out this very closely. And then as you see, this is actually going to make a huge so-called force field with no shear at all in the Gulf. Like 0 knots in some areas. And we have 32 degrees Celsius waters, and 0 knots of shear in one area, specifically the same time, same region. Does not go good with a tropical system, especially not in 2020, since we've learned our lesson, and that's exactly what the conditions are like. Well, guys, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hopefully, I can have another possibly late afternoon, early evening upload on this, so you guys are updated here. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and bye, guys.